Welcome to Film at 50, a podcast that celebrates semi-centennials in the world of cinema. I'm your host, Brian Rowe, and I'm very excited to welcome Evan Bittencourt to the podcast today for this exclusive bonus features episode talking about the Prom and the career of Meryl Streep. How are we doing, Evan?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, doing well. Thanks so much for being here and doing this for me. This is very exciting.
Of course. Yeah, anything to, keep ourselves busy on the weekend during quarantine. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to start by just if you could talk about your career as an actor. I felt like you should have been in this movie, Evan.
Oh, wow. I just saw it last night and
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was a musical.
Oh, so you were
But
like, oh, like 10 minutes in, you're like, okay,
I was like,
this is
oh,
that
this
kind
is
of
what
movie.
we're doing. Okay, got it, got it.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'd love to be in something like that. It's
Have
well,
you done
again,
have you done a musical of any kind, like where you're singing and dancing, whether for film or on stage? Have you done that at all?
no, I've auditioned for them, like a couple of them, but not really. I've never really auditioned for theater.
Okay.
Um, it's not something that I'm against. It's just something that hasn't come my way.
Hmm.
There was this play last year that was at the Pasadena Playhouse that I was up for, but it didn't end up. It went up a different way, and it's fine. It's something that I'm interested in, but not something I'm like really pursuing.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm open to it. Um, but yeah, I've been acting for maybe like 5 years now, really.
Okay.
Um, I did a couple episodes on Chasing Life on ABC Family. It was before Freeform,
Hmm.
and I did the Ideal Home. It's a comedy with Paul Rudd and Steve
Yeah, which
Coogan.
I saw. That's a really funny film. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
that. Paul Rudd and Steve Coogan. Yeah.
yeah, it was really fun. We shot in Santa Fe. I'd never been to Santa Fe before. Amazing food, amazing people. And yeah, it's funny because we shot that movie and then it didn't come out for 2 years. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
when that movie finally came out, I was like, oh my God, okay.
That
And
that happens, right? Sometimes you make a film and then 2 years on, you're like, is this ever going to see the light of day?
seriously, I was like, wait, why has it been? I'm already like 2 years older. I
Yeah.
look different.
And
No,
tell me about, you're also in one of my favorite films of 2016, Nocturnal Animals. What's the
God, yeah.
story behind that film?
It's a very small part. I don't even really talk about it much because it's just one scene.
Okay.
And, usually when you get, like, when you're not a name and you get into this movie with, like, I mean,
Gyllenhaal, Amy
Jake
Adams.
Gyllenhaal, one of my idols,
Yeah.
literally. Like, I love his career. I love everything he's done. And I was kind of worried. I didn't verbalize this, but I was kind of worried. I was like, well, hopefully they don't like cut me out because it's just one scene, and
Uh-huh.
I don't want to tell anybody that I'm in it. But then
Yeah.
literally, Tom Ford, like on the day of shooting, he was like, "Listen, don't worry about being cut out or anything because this is a very pivotal scene in the movie." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." It was like he read my mind, and yeah, it was really fun. The table read alone was just like I'm
Oh,
sitting there
wow.
like
Yeah.
Amy and Jake and Isla Fisher and Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I'm just like
Michael Shannon.
Michael
Yeah,
Shannon.
who got nominated for an Oscar for that film. Yeah.
I thought he was going to win. He was amazing. And then Aaron Taylor Johnson won the Golden Globe
That
for
was
it.
such a strange year because Aaron Taylor Johnson was nominated for supporting actor for the Golden Globe. He won,
Right.
and
He
then
wasn't
Michael Shannon gets the Oscar nomination for supporting actor. So that was kind of
very
strange.
interesting. Yeah. It's all, I mean, it's all subjective. It's all
Yeah.
different people like putting in their nominations and their votes. So both of them did an amazing job and they were lovely. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, I will say, was so in character the entire time. He was the only one who came in, didn't talk to anybody, was just like so focused, didn't even open his script,
Yeah.
was completely off book the entire movie. And then right when we finished, just got up and left. And that was it. And I
That was
respect that. I was like, damn, you are in it. I feel like he was very method and
yeah.
it worked.
Yeah, and then of course last year you had a major role in Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist. What was that experience like?
That was really fun. I met some of my best friends now
Okay.
uh, on that show. So it only lasted for a season, but it was,
Bummer.
yeah, just Portland alone. But you know what? If we had shot again this year, we would have had issues because of COVID and because of what's happening in Portland,
Oh yeah, you're right. It would have been a
So
tricky year. to shoot
Yeah.
season 2.
And Portland's
Yeah.
amazing. I'd never been there. I knew I would love it. Portland and Oregon, still haven't been to, or Washington. I
Mm.
still have never been to Washington, but I know that I would love it. Just like I did Portland, amazing food and people, and it's just like the nature and everything. But yeah, the show was amazing. Created by Marlene King, and I played Andrew, boyfriend of Dylan, and who played by Eli Brown, who's now on Gossip, the reboot of Gossip
That's
Girl.
right. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's an amazing guy, and we're very much in touch. He's in New York right now, and Sydney, the girl who played Caitlin on the show, she's one of my best friends now. She actually lived with me for this summer.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. And with that show came a whole world that I had no idea how dedicated the fans are. There's so many like diehard PLL fans. And it was just insane to see that, because usually when you join a show, it's not like a reboot, I guess. And it was just interesting to see how that is, like when a show already has a following from before it even airs. It's very, very interesting.
Was that a tough role to get? Did you have to do like a lot of callbacks and stuff, or was it like for
It's
it was a
funny.
pretty big role?
Yeah, so I originally went in for the lead for Dylan,
Okay.
for Eli's role, and that was December 2017. It was like a long time ago. And then didn't hear anything back, or no, maybe I had a call back, and then I didn't hear anything until September. So almost a year later, they was like, "Hey, they actually want to see you for Andrew now. You're Dylan's boyfriend." And I was
Oh,
like,
interesting.
"What? It's been 9 months." And then turns out it was actually because there was somebody else who was originally cast as Andrew, and he booked another show, so they had to reshoot the pilot, which they shot in March. And then so I went back in, and then I ended up getting the role for Andrew, for Dylan's boyfriend. And so it wasn't too difficult. No, I only went in like 2 or 3 times,
Oh,
and
nice.
and then it was like, you got the part. And then I was in Portland a week later, and I went back and forth for like 7 times within like a 4-month span. And it was so much fun. Such great people.
Yeah, it was really fun to see that, and to see you on that show, because we go back really. Do you remember how we met, Evan? It was like 2009, 2008.
Okay.
On a student film. I was working for Valerie McCaffrey, the casting director at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And her son was in a short film, a student film that I believe you were in as well. As I think that's where I met you. Because I was there on the set.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember meeting. I definitely remember it was like 2008, 2009. I feel like we actually met like and talked for the first time. We were in line for something. Like, I don't know if it was food. I think it was food, but I remember you were in line with me, and that's how we started talking.
Yeah. So we go back a long way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said you've been acting for 5 years, but or 7 or whatever you said at the beginning. But you've been at this for a while, right? I mean,
yeah,
going back all
I
the
say
way.
5 because 2015 is when I joined SAG.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of like where I
became a
started.
serious actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I did do student stuff and short films before that. I think if I had to say a year, it would be 2012 is when I started like actually pursuing it, because I had a full-time job right after high school, and I didn't have time for it. And but yeah, so I guess 2012, 5 to 8 years, somewhere there.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of crazy to think it's been that long. But,
I can't believe it.
It's been a long time since we chatted. So much fun to have you on the podcast today to talk about The Prom. What did we think of The Prom, Evan? So you came into this not knowing very much about what the movie.
I knew nothing about it.
Okay.
I saw one scene on social media. Give us some zazz.
Give us some zazz.
Yeah, I saw that. And Nicole, one of my top 5. That's all I knew about it, and I guess I should have known it was a musical from that scene, but whatever. I was with 3 of my friends, and we kind of watched it virtually together. And, so one of my friends was here, and then the other 2 were at their house, and I was a little drunk, and it made it. It was actually fun, like I was kind of really into it, and a lot of the moments, like when Nicole started talking about like Roxy Hart, I was like, wait. And then my friends were like, what? I was like, she's Renee and her are best friends. She's paying an homage to Renee. And they were like, I don't think that's what's going on. I was like, I think it is.
I read that she was offered or considered heavily for the 2002 Chicago that Renee Zellweger ended up doing. Like I think Nicole Kidman was a part of the conversation there. So for her
That
to
makes
kind of pay homage to that in this movie was kind of fun. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Renee was considered for the prom, and that's what my friend was saying.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think so.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, I really like that, and it was "Give It Some Zazz" was literally all that jazz, right? That was like
It was very Bob Fosse. Yeah.
it was an homage to that, and I love
Yeah.
that. And I actually watched Fosse Verdon recently, and it was amazing.
Great show. Yeah.
So good.
Michelle Williams is in that very small select group of actors who, like, if she's in a film or a show, I watch it.
She's incredible.
She's great.
She really, and like the way her career has like gone from Dawson's Creek to where she is now is it's really insane.
Oh, it's unbelievable that she was on Dawson's Creek for the whole run and is now what, a 4-time Academy Award nominee?
Or Manchester by the Sea, My Week with Marilyn.
Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, Blue Valentine, My Week with Marilyn, and the Manchester by the Sea.
Yep.
So she's had a great career. She should have been in this too. I like when she does musical. I feel like Ryan Murphy is at a point now where he can just get anybody he wants to be in his projects. You know.
And also the lighting on all of his stuff is just so flattering. It's so so amazing. I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've been looking, Evan, on Twitter the last few days. There's a lot of hate for this movie.
It's there.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. And I really went into this with just like a clean slate, as I do with any film that I watch. And I had an absolute blast with this movie.
It was fun.
You know, is it perfect? Is it a great movie? No, it's really, really, really fun. And, you know, the central theme of the movie is important. And I think it does very well with that. The ensemble cast that's been collected for this movie is insane. Like from the big stars like Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman all the way down to the younger leads who I thought were absolutely fantastic in this. Joe Ellen Pellman as Emma and Ariana DeBose as Alyssa. I thought they were great in this. I actually wanted a little bit more focus on them and their story. The one problem is that because we have Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman, you know, we're going to get a lot of scenes with them. And so sometimes there were chunks of the film where I'm like, okay, let's go back to the teenagers, like their story. Let's stay concentrated on them. And, you know, we don't want the movie to be 3 hours. So it's like trying to find that balance, I thought was a little tricky in this movie, but still for the most part worked really well.
I thought the girl who played Emma, the main girl, her voice was,
oh my gosh,
amazing. Yeah. It's like you can really sing.
Yeah, and I think she played that role on stage for the prom. Right. I think that's which would make sense, but not always. It doesn't always happen, right? Especially like a younger actor who we're not familiar with, you know, plays a role on stage. Sometimes they get just a movie actor, right, for the film.
Right.
But this time they went with the right person, right?
I love that. I didn't know that. I appreciate that they went with the girl who already knows the story so well and has played the role before. You know?
Yeah, knows it forward and backwards and really can bring it for the movie adaptation. I think that was a really strong choice. He could, you know, Brian Murphy could have gone with a star, you know, could have gone with a bigger name for that role, but went with someone who was familiar with who had actually played the role before on stage. I thought that was a good decision that he made.
Which I sometimes, when a star is cast in like the lead role of something, I'm so distracted. I'm like, oh, that's da da da. You know, that's not the character to me. That's da 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 playing. I'm like, just get somebody unknown. It's like you already have Streep and Kidman. You don't need any other stars.
Exactly. So if you get giant stars for those roles, it doesn't make sense to bring in like, oh, it has to be a name in their 20s for like it can be the right person, which is I think is important.
The one thing I will say though, the girl who played Emma, I thought she was very theatrical and like musical theater style.
Okay.
So that makes sense to me now that she was actually on stage, you know, and that's what this role calls for. So she did a great job, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I feel like it can be difficult when you go from the stage and then acting for film. They're two completely different mediums, right?
Right.
You're acting to the back row on the stage, but then in the film you got the camera like right here. So
that's the thing to me that would always like, if I were to do theater. Because for me, I like to do things that are very grounded and like realistic. And where you wouldn't talk to somebody, like they're in the back of the room, you know, like for me, that's not realistic. And I just like inside of me, I start cringing and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be over the top. I don't want to overact. Like that's my thing.
Mm.
That's what I feel like I would struggle with theater.
Okay.
But when somebody can do it well and it's not cheesy, that's what it's all about.
Do you have a favorite, like if like stage, theater, television, film, commercial? Like what's kind of like your favorite form of acting, would you say?
My favorite film is, well, there's a few, but I always say this is my favorite, Closer, which was a play with
I
Natalie Portman.
love Closer.
That's
Yeah, it's been a while
seriously,
since I've seen that.
oh my God, I've seen it over 100 times. I actually was just watching a clip of it earlier, the scene with Natalie and Jude where they break up.
Mm,
I love that movie so much. I know the
mm,
entire script by heart. Like
mm,
it's one of my, it's yeah, my favorite movie. And I actually, when I was in, when I went to Pasadena City College, I was in this acting class and we had to do a scene from that. And
mm,
that's when I realized it was a play first. And I've never
mm.
seen the play, but I feel like I would really like it. Um, yeah.
And what is your favorite like acting medium? Is it television, film, like for the camera? Is that kind of your favorite medium?
Yeah, for the camera. You know, before maybe like 5, 10 years ago, I would say it would be film. But now that television is just as good as film.
Mm.
You know, there's so many shows that I'm like, they blow me away. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
this is just as good as being a movie star, in my opinion. Like, this is like this show is it's just a really long movie. And but yeah, if I had to pick still, it would probably be drama movies.
Mhm.
That's what I like to watch. That's what gives me goosebumps. You know, I'll see like a trailer for something and I'll just get, ever since I was a kid, like that's how I knew I wanted to be an actor. Is I would watch something on TV, like a trailer in theaters, and I'd just get the goosebumps and I'd be like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. And that's how dramatic movies make me feel. I love comedies too, but
Yeah.
it's just different. It's like, I don't know, feels more like serious. Like,
Yeah. My favorite genre is horror films. Like I love scary films. Have you ever been
uh,
in one? Have you done any horror film?
yes, so I did this show called Into the Dark. It's an
Oh,
anthology
right. I saw that. Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Yeah, on Hulu. It's the first episode of the second season. It's called Uncanny Annie.
Hmm.
And it was really fun. It was a Halloween episode.
Oh, cool. Okay, nice.
Yeah. I also did this horror movie called Halloween Hell.
I love it.
That was an experience. It was fun. Eric Roberts is in it. Yeah, it was, you know, good old horror slash. I love horror movies. Like I love the Scream series. Like
Hmm.
I love Red Eye. Red Eye is one of my favorite thrillers.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Wes Craven was one of my favorite directors. I worked for
uh,
his company for a few months back in '07, and he's a
oh,
he's a hero of mine. I love Wes Craven.
he's incredible.
Yeah.
Cursed. I love Cursed.
Cursed, yep. Yeah,
It's
also 2005. Craven had two films in '05. He had Cursed and Red Eye. Yeah, back
Red
to
Eye
back.
is so good. Red Eye is so underrated.
Yeah,
Cillian Murphy,
yeah,
McAdams, both amazing actors. It's like two amazing actors in a thriller movie is, ooh, that's great.
yeah. And of course, Ryan Murphy is really well known for horror with his show American Horror Story.
Right,
But he is someone who will, do different genres, different things. The Prom is probably closest to Glee, right? I've heard
right.
some critics say, "Oh, it's season 7 of Glee." you know,
Oh,
you
that
know.
makes sense. You see, I never saw Glee, so
Oh, you never
I
saw Glee? Okay.
no,
Yeah, a lot of very bright, cheerful singing and dancing, inclusivity. That was a big part of Glee. So
I've
that the
seen
Prom is
some,
closest to that.
yeah, I've seen some scenes. Like I saw, so random, but I saw the scene where Kate Hudson sings like a Gaga song. Saw that once, and I was like, wait, what is this show?
Yeah, it had some big guest stars. Kate Hudson was on it. Sarah Jessica Parker was on it.
Oh,
Gwyneth,
really?
Gwyneth Paltrow, like a lot of big names were on Glee.
That where she
Yeah,
met Brad, probably.
Gwyneth
Just hearing
Paltrow's
her
now
voice.
husband. Yeah, they met on the set of Glee, if I'm not
Ah,
mistaken. Yeah,
wow, it all makes sense. It's all
yeah.
connected. Um,
Um,
and I saw the Naya Rivera songbird scene. It's like
oh
so
gosh.
beautiful.
Yeah, there's definitely been some tragedy from that show. A lot of
I
actors who aren't
know.
here anymore. It's crazy.
Read them. Three
Yeah,
tragic deaths. Yeah.
exactly. Um, but with the Prom, it's different in that it's really like as I said before, it's focusing on the teenagers for like half of the film, and then we're also getting the adults. And them kind of storming into this small town, like trying to, they've just had a bad run with the Franklin Delano Roosevelt, like the terrible Broadway show.
Right.
They need something new in their life, something to, prove their worth. And so, we're going to go to this small town. I love how the whole movie stems from Nicole Kidman just going on Twitter. Let me see what's trending. Oh, there's this girl who they canceled her prom. And then they all like look at her phone. I'm like, that's what gets the plot in motion. Twitter. Okay.
I mean, honestly, it's very relatable to today, like that can happen today. Like, who do we want to help today? Oh, let's go help this girl in this little town. And I thought it was so funny actually how Meryl talked to the people in the small town. And I'm thinking about like people in small towns watching this movie. It's gonna perpetuate their hate for Hollywood a little bit because like they think, she's like, I'm a celebrity. Of course I get all that I want. And it's like, I feel like some people will take that literally, but it's like, no, she's making fun of those celebrities that talk like that. Like Meryl's not like that, and it's like, just don't read it like the wrong way. Like when Meryl was singing and she said, all these local yokels. And for some reason, I love that word. I love the word yokel. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. So what did we think of Meryl Streep in this film? What did we think of her performance?
I mean, I hate to like just be boring and say she was great, but like,
yeah,
what else could she do? She's amazing. She can sing, she can act. Like even her wig, it was a wig, right?
Oh yeah,
the wig was amazing.
Yeah,
and I thought she really nailed it. I didn't know she could. She's like 70, right? She dances like
So this was shot earlier this year. She was 70. She's now 71. So yeah, I mean, she's at 70 years old.
Yeah,
really bringing it in this movie with her singing, with her dancing, and her performing, and it's really remarkable.
Her singing's incredible.
Yeah, people forget how great of a singer she is. She's really been showing that more lately.
Yeah.
So in 2014, I actually wrote a book called My Year with Meryl Streep, where I watched a film of hers a week for 52 weeks. So I'm very, very familiar with her career. I've been following it for many years. Oh yeah, my two queens are Sandra Bullock and Meryl Streep. So if those two ever make a film together, I think my mind will officially
explode. Yeah,
like they kissed. The two of them kissed at the Critics' Choice Awards in 2010. Meryl Streep won for Julie and Julia, and Sandra Bullock won for The Blind Side, and they shared the stage and they made out on this. And I was like.
You're like, oh my God, I'm straight.
I was like, this is insane. So yeah, those are my two favorites. But yeah, I'm a huge Meryl Streep fan. Have been my whole life. Ever since I saw Death Becomes Her. I was like 8 years old when that came when the film was released in '92.
Oh my God, seeing that at 8, I can't imagine. Yeah. That's so cool.
so and then The River Wild right after that. I was a big action movie fan in the 90s, and she was in The River Wild, which is a great movie with Kevin Bacon as the bad guy. So yeah, I've been following her career a long time, and it's amazing to me to this day that she still disappears into roles. You forget you're watching her.
Yes.
She's a chameleon.
Her and Keegan-Michael Key had so much chemistry.
That was that insane how much chemistry they had? I was like, this is not something I would have thought of.
At the diner, I was like, holy shit. I was like, is she gonna like ask him to like take his clothes off right now? Because that's literally what I saw in her eyes. I was like, she like wants to jump his bones right now.
That's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. For me, there was almost at times so much musical, so much singing in this movie that for the rare moments where they just were two people talking at the restaurant, like it was kind of nice to just like, okay, let's just take a beat, let's slow down, let's like get to know these people. And it's one of the scenes in the movie where Meryl Streep kind of lets her guard down and she really just talks about, well, this is all a facade in some way.
I love that
part. Creation.
When she's like I invented it.
Yeah.
I love that. And I was like, damn, you really are. Oh, and that's when I said, and like, I was a little drunk, but I was like, she did it again.
Yeah, but they have great chemistry. Their kiss at the end is fantastic. Like the way that's shot and the way like he comes in, like that was really well done. Yeah.
Good old Ryan Murphy.
And another thing is that, the first Meryl Streep movie I watched was Death Becomes Her. And her character in The Prom has a little bit of that character from Death Becomes Her in her.
Totally.
There's a little bit of Madeline Ashton, the Broadway diva from Death Becomes Her.
That's 70.
It's kind of like if if that character were 70 years old, like
Right.
I feel like it'd be kind of similar to what we get in The Prom, which was kind of like a fun little trivia.
Yeah, what's
Little
it called?
homage in a way.
Yeah, little homage.
Yeah. So she was great in this, as she always is. I think she's in the movie just the right amount. I think she could have overtaken this movie to the point where we really didn't get enough of the younger leads, and I feel like she's in the movie just the right amount, you know.
You know, when I couldn't stop laughing. I had to rewind it when she was like, "Oh my god, I guessed your code. It's 9481, Beyonce's birthday."
Yeah, that was good.
I was like, "Oh my god, who thinks of that? Who wrote that?"
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. And I'm really good with birthdays for some reason, so I already knew that was Beyonce's birthday. So yeah, it was funny, and she said that to James Corden, who, you know, what did you think of James Corden in the movie?
So before watching the film, I had read online a lot of people are upset
Yes,
that a straight actor, James Corden, is playing this gay character in a film about inclusivity.
Yeah.
There's so many great LGBTQ actors out there. Why couldn't one of them play? You know, Andrew Rannells. Why couldn't Andrew Rannells could have played the lead? Or
Andrew Rannells he's the one that had he was like the waiter that started off.
Yeah, he's the waiter. He's the other kind of major, like, older male actor in the movie.
I actually said that. I was like, wait, shouldn't he have been that role? But you know.
So I mean, and I understand that, and I can only really take what's on the screen, and from that, you know, just from the film itself, I thought he did a fine job. I'm not a huge James Corden fan. I feel like he's probably more appropriate for his talk show than he is to be a major movie star or anything like that. But you know, this in many ways, this film was kind of a reunion for many actors from Into the Woods from 2014, the musical with Meryl Streep, with James Corden, with Tracy Ullman, who plays James Corden's mom, and like almost hard to recognize her with that makeup and hair. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, did I think he was great in it? You know, maybe, probably could have been a different, but he was fine. He was fine. He didn't ruin the movie for me, like apparently that did for other people. Like the other people said, if it had been someone else than James Corden, I would have liked this. But because of his presence in this movie, it was a no from me. And I didn't think it was that at all.
You know, his opening scene, right immediately, I was like, it's almost like, you know, when somebody's like they're trying to act to portray like a gay person, but they're just going above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like
he goes a little bit too much at times.
Just a little too, like, you don't have to like be like, not every gay person is like that. You know, it's not the stereotype.
Exactly.
So I didn't love that, but then there were moments, I forgot he screamed something. He was talking to somebody here, and then he goes da 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 da, and he went back here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that was good.
Yeah.
But you know, the whole thing about why is a straight man playing a gay man, I actually don't agree with that, because that's like saying gay men or gay women can't play straight, you know,
which they have.
So it's like, I don't think that only gay can play gay and only straight can play straight. I think everybody can play everything, but I think just the way you do it should, like, it needs to be like authentic.
Exactly.
And so yeah, that's my take on it. I agree with you though. I don't think he was bad. I don't think he was great, but I think he was fine.
Yeah, he doesn't ruin the film. I don't see how you watch this. I mean, it's so much fun from beginning to end. How you say, well, James Corden, like, it didn't strike me in that way at all. So for me, the biggest, like the weakest link of this movie that isn't her fault, I felt like Nicole Kidman was kind of wasted in this film. I felt that there were long stretches where she's either not in it, or when she is, she's kind of in the background. She gets that one number that we talked about in the girl's house.
Right.
There's like I'm like, you have Nicole Kidman. She is in one of the best musicals of the early part of the century, Moulin Rouge from 2001.
Right.
And I felt like, you're going to have her in this movie. Use her more.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I was like, wait, I need more Nicole. You know, this is part of the reason why I watched this movie.
Yeah, she's great with what she has to do. I just felt like a lot of the scenes she's in, she's not really the focus. And then other parts of the film, she's just gone. And I'm like, you have Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, come on. Get with it.
I just watched her show, The Undoing on HBO, which she's the star of, and she's great. This has been a Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep week, because I watched The Undoing this week, and I watched Meryl Streep's other film, Let Them All Talk, directed by Steven Soderbergh, which dropped on HBO Max on Thursday. So Meryl
Oh,
Streep has 2 films this week.
I didn't
And
see that.
I really enjoyed The Prom. I think Let Them All Talk is even better. It's a really
Okay.
great kind of quiet drama with Candice Bergen and Diane Wiest and Lucas Hedges set aboard a cruise ship
Oh, I love.
about the writing life and about old grudges, and it's just like a really rich film. I really enjoyed it. So as a huge fan of Nicole Kidman and Meryl Streep, this has been a very exciting this has been an exciting week. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I love her and I love Lucas Hedges. I think he blows me away.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He picks really good projects too. Like he's even from at a very young age,
Yeah.
he's working with outstanding directors and picking good projects.
Him and his love interest in Waves.
Oh, I haven't seen Waves. That's on my list. I need to watch
Oh
it.
my God. Just I like the movie, but
Mhm.
just specifically all their scenes together, that girl, his girlfriend, is the best standout for me in the whole movie was her. Forgot her name. Really beautiful black girl.
Mhm.
Forgot her name, but she's incredible, and so is he in that movie.
Mhm.
You should check that one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Waves. It's on. I actually have it recorded on my DVR. I've got like 37 movies recorded on my
Me
DVR, so I have to
too.
like. So it's hard to
Yeah,
like pick. It's hard to pick which one do I
yeah,
watch.
yeah.
But I'll definitely get to that.
And then I have movies that I've never seen before, and then I have like Bring It On recorded, and I'll watch that. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
You're like, I'm gonna watch the one I've seen 1,000 times.
I'm just like Torrance. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Let's see who else in The Prom. Carrie Washington. I was kind of so on her performance. What do we
You
think of
know what the
Carrie Washington?
problem with her was that we hated that person, that character. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And
So
she's such a lovable presence on screen.
right,
I always love her. It was kind of
right.
weird to watch her play the antagonist in this. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if she was the right choice.
I was trying to take. I was trying to just look at it as like a character and like, yes, I do not like this person in real
Yeah.
life, but if I always say that when somebody's playing like the villain or like the antagonist,
Hmm.
if you don't like them, if they're pissing you off, then they're doing a
They're
good
doing
job.
their job.
You know?
Yeah.
So I thought it was great that her daughter was gay and that that whole reveal at the end and then
Mhm.
her accepting it. I wish it was like that for most people, but I felt like Netflix is such a big platform that there are people who watch that, parents who are watching that who may not
Absolutely.
be totally accepting of their kids, and they watch that and they're like,
Hmm.
wow, life's too short. That's
Hmm.
literally what we should do.
Yeah.
Like, why are we gonna ruin this relationship when we can just be happy?
Hmm.
And I really liked that part of it. I was like, okay, this is
Hmm.
cool. And I liked how they made this woman who typically would be, in most movies would be a white woman.
Yep.
They
Hmm.
made her POC, and
Hmm.
they went to show that just because you're a person of color doesn't mean that you're always open-minded. You can be
Hmm.
completely closed-minded, and that's just how life is. So it really shows that like it doesn't really matter the color of your skin. It matters where you're
Hmm.
raised. And if you're raised in a small town like that with like I'm not saying all small towns are bad either. I'm just
Yeah.
saying a lot of the stigmas and stereotypes are what they are. So
Yeah.
I
I think you're
really
right.
like.
Yeah. I think if this were made 10 years ago, that would have been a white
Oh yeah,
person.
it would have been Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been The Help, right? Bryce
Oh
Dallas Howard.
God, I love her.
I felt like the movie needed one more beat with her. It's kind of like she's the villain the whole movie, and then just
Right,
very quickly at the end, she's accepting of her daughter.
right. I
Not
agree
only
with that.
that, but she's
Yeah,
like full on dancing at the end and
yeah.
watching her daughter kiss the girlfriend, and she's like got a smile on her face.
She's like,
Life
yes.
is good, and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, I
An
agree.
hour ago, weren't you a completely different
I agree with
person?
that. I didn't even think of that, but I guess I subconsciously thought that. But you know what? They might have even cut out some. I feel like they cut out a lot of stuff to make this movie 2 hours. I feel like they had like
Yeah.
4 hours of footage.
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long. And yeah, I bet there's at least 30 minutes of film that they had to delete from. I don't like movies that are direct to Netflix now. Are they getting DVD or Blu-ray releases where we can get deleted scenes? I don't even think they're going to Blu-ray.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Like if The Prom has 30 minutes of deleted scenes, it could be a lot of fun to see. Like, how do we access that? How do they
I feel like a
release it?
lot of people want to see that. Whether for good reasons or bad reasons, people want to see that.
I love seeing deleted scenes, even if it's just a mix of junk. That's like, oh,
Oh,
that's
me
a good
too.
thing it was
Or
taken. But
like
some.
alternate endings. I love that.
Did you shoot any scenes for Pretty Little Liars that got cut from the show,
Um,
or were they all in the show?
The scene completely wasn't cut, but there were moments that. So speaking of closer, there was a moment where there's a breakup episode. Episode 4 is when Eli and I break up, and we have to fight and we have to cry, and the director of that episode was Roger Cumble, who directed
Cruel Intentions. Yes.
One of my favorite movies.
Great
And
movie. Oh,
my,
wow. I didn't know that. That's fantastic. You got to work with him.
He directed episodes 4 and 5.
Okay.
And I met him and I was like, listen, man. Like, do you understand that I've seen Cruel Intentions like 100 times? And he was like, what? Really? And then I started quoting the movie to him. Can I curse on you?
Sure. A little bit.
Oh, maybe I won't then. But like, I was just like quoting like the really like raunchy Sarah Michelle Gellar lines. And he was like, oh my God. He's like, do you know the whole script? I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I also know that in the scene where Reese is breaking up with Ryan, like she slaps him and that wasn't in the script. That was a real slap. He was like, how do you know that? I was like, I'm telling you, I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
But in the scene of our breakup scene, he was like, okay, now I want you guys to improv and like say whatever you want. So there was one part where I quoted what Natalie said to Jude in Closer. We were breaking up and then I told him, I was like, and we were crying and I was like, I would have loved you forever. And that's what Natalie says. And then the episode aired and it wasn't in there and I was like,
oh. So you were ad-libbing that? You were like adding that to the...
I added it right before I slammed the door. I added that.
Yeah. Okay. And you're like, okay, a line that I created is going to be on the show. And then it aired. You were like, no.
No, it was cut. But I get it. There's different reasons to cut.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah.
What
about in the Prom, Andrew Rannells? What did we think? I loved his song at the mall. Like that was one of my favorite musical numbers. Like when he's
actually, my friend said that. He said that was the best song of the movie.
Yeah, it's a great song. Like the message of it's really, it really comes through. And he's a really gifted Broadway performer. His first major show was the Book of Mormon on Broadway.
So last night, yes.
Yeah, so he can bring it, and he does in that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of the movie for sure.
He really does. His voice is incredible. And my friend Nick was saying that, he loved the Book of Mormon. He's like, don't you remember him? I was like, I've never seen it. He was like, oh my God, he's so good. My friend loves musicals.
Yeah.
And and I was like, well, he's definitely a singer. He's definitely a good actor and a good dancer too. He's like all around triple threat.
Mm-hmm.
And I really did like him. And I couldn't remember. I've seen his face before, but I'd never seen Book of Mormon, so I don't know where I've seen him.
He's been all over. He was in the new Boys in the Band adaptation that aired on Netflix in September. He's been on a bunch of television shows. Like he's been all over the place. Like,
maybe I saw him on another Ryan Murphy thing, probably.
Yeah, I think they've worked together at least 2 or 3 times before.
Because he always uses the same people.
He uses, it's kind of like a stock company of actors, right? That he uses just over and over.
He has a good choice,
Yeah.
He has a good selection of actors.
Yeah, my favorite thing that he's been involved with still to this day is a Feud, Betty and Joan, about Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. Was amazing. I loved that.
Oh, good. I mean, Jessica Lange to me is just like, she's just not a real person. She's so good. The way she breathes, she's like, wow. Yeah. I just love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, who, if you like, so you said before you have like a few favorite act, like who would be like your dream actor to work with? Like a couple dream actors to work with in a show or a film?
I mean, if I had my choice, Natalie Portman.
Okay.
It's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's great. Black Swan is just an incredible performance in that.
Garden State, Closer, V for Vendetta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she blows me away. I met her before.
You got to meet Natalie Portman?
I was backstage at the Hollywood Bowl with a friend, and they said, like, oh, my friend Natalie's here, Natalie Portman. And I was like, look, I don't get starstruck. I've seen a lot of, I've seen people, like, it's fine. Like, I don't really get starstruck.
Yeah.
But when I saw her coming down the hallway, I was like, oh my God, this is it. And then
what do I say?
I know, and like I told you, I'm really good with birthdays, right? So I already knew her birthday. Like I know that she's from Israel. I know she speaks 5 languages. I'm like a crazy fan at this point. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, don't say anything stupid. So then she comes up to me, so short, like wet hair in a bun, like looks like she just got out of the shower, so beautiful, like it's so naturally beautiful. She was like, "Hi, I'm Natalie." I was like, "Uh-huh."
You were like,
Yes.
I know your birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me sit you down. I have some facts about you I'm going to talk to you
June 9th. Yeah. But yeah, she was so sweet and everything I wanted her to be. But yeah, so she's one of my favorites. Angelina Jolie is I feel like people forget that she's such an amazing actress
Yeah.
because of her looks and
Yeah.
how beautiful and perfect looking she is. You know, she's like the most gorgeous woman ever.
Yeah.
But she's actually so like Girl Interrupted, Gia. I think she's just so talented.
Mhm.
I love her. Nicole Kidman is my top five. Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
And I'm naming
Fantastic.
all women, and I think it's because it's so different. Like for me, when I watch a woman like in a drama,
Mhm.
it's just different for me than watching a man. I don't
Mhm.
know. I just feel like I don't know how to explain it. Like they give me a different
Mhm.
sensation.
Yeah,
Uh,
Julia Roberts keeps reinventing herself. Did you see either of her 2018 projects, Homecoming on Amazon and
yes,
Ben is Back, the dramatic
I
film
didn't
with
see Ben is
Lucas
back.
Hedges?
Yes,
Great
I didn't
film.
see
She's amazing in both of those. And
Homecoming. She was incredible, and
yeah.
also just a side note, the way they shot Homecoming, like some of the shots, it was very Alfred Hitchcock. I was like,
Oh yeah. It's
is this
totally had
Virgo?
a Hitchcock flavor to that show.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was so cool. And then my other one, oh, Kate Blanchett. Oh my God.
Mm.
Blue Jasmine,
Is it Blanchett or Blanchett? I've heard both. I don't even know at this point.
Kate Blanchett, Kate
Kate
Blanchett.
Blanchett. Kate Blanchett.
Oh, what did she say?
I think it's technically Blanchett, but it
She's like,
doesn't sound right. I
she's like,
like
no,
to
darling.
I prefer to say Blanchett.
She's like, no, darling, it's Blanchet.
Yeah. Yeah, I
No,
love her too. Ocean's 8 was fun to see her and Sandra
that
Bullock
was
together
really
on film
good.
was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really
So hopefully soon, Evan, maybe I'll start writing the screenplay later today. Figure out a movie where you're with those five women in the same film.
perfect. You know, I want all five though. All five better agree.
Yeah. Evan's like, oh, you can only get 3 of the 5. I'm out. I'm done.
Ooh, I could make some decisions.
Yeah. All right, so back to the prom. Anything else that we liked, didn't like about it? I mean, we've talked about most of the main actors. Trying to think. Again, the two younger leads are fantastic in this. They have great chemistry. We get at least 2 or 3 musical numbers with them, professing their love for each other, and those scenes all really crackle with energy and are really great. And you really want them to get together at the end, which makes that final scene so fantastic at the end, even though
Yeah.
it's coming. You're not like, this isn't going to end any other way, but it's still fantastic. I mean, I think about the lack of LGBTQ content when I was young. There was very little. And
Yeah.
now I just think, gosh, if you're growing up gay now, like there's just so much great content out there, so much to just make you feel really, self-positive, and the inclusivity theme of this movie, I think, is so important for gay and straight younger people. I just think movies like this are really important just to get out there and have a lot of people see it.
Yeah, it's so different. It's so crazy to think about growing up now. Like, because even when I grew up, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have like social media. And
Yeah.
I cannot imagine, because growing up is already hard. Like, you have bullies at school, you have
Yep.
people saying terrible things to you, like rumors getting started. But adding like social media and phones into that,
Yeah.
it's not cool. Like if I was a parent today, I would just be so scared for my kid. Like I would never tell them this, but like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's just so scary. Like kids are their minds are so fragile. And I feel like, movies like this are very important to open people's minds. And especially, like I said, like on Netflix, like Netflix is like, everybody has it. That's the thing about it. Like if you're on a cable show, only so many people are going to watch that. You know what I mean? And shows that would like You, for example, on Netflix, nobody saw. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna, because my friend is
It's
in the
really good.
watch the
Yeah.
first now, so I can like watch his arc and stuff. But he nobody watched it when it was on Lifetime, and
Yeah.
that's and why, because not everybody has Lifetime subscription, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about Netflix. It's like it's so crazy. It's like a monster. Like
Yeah, you aired the first season aired on Lifetime and was a total dud. Not a lot of people saw it, and
right,
then it went to Netflix. I want to say right after Christmas, and it
right,
became the biggest hit of the week. Right, everybody was
right.
watching and talking about it. Schitt's Creek too. Schitt's Creek aired. I want to say the first two seasons, maybe
Oh,
even more on Pop, and not everyone has that. It was hard to see it. I had
I
like
have
heard
it
of.
because I'm obsessed with Big Brother,
Okay.
so I have Pop.
Yeah, like I was familiar with that show because I love Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, so I wanted to
Oh,
watch it. But it
okay.
wasn't until it dropped on Netflix that I finally started binging it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a great show. This is fantastic."
I've only seen a couple episodes, but I love it. Catherine O'Hara,
Oh my gosh, I
she
would for if I've never met Catherine O'Hara. I would like freak out if I were to bump into Catherine. I'd be like, "Oh my god,
like Kevin. Yeah,
Kevin!"
yeah, she's amazing, and just her
Yeah,
as that. What's her Moira? Yeah, Moira. Oh God, so good, so
yeah.
good. Amazing that all four of them won the Emmy this year. Plus,
Yeah,
he
that never happens, right?
never
It's
happened
just
before.
like actor, actress, supporting actress, writing,
Writing,
directing, show.
directing, show. They won every single. That's never happened before. And
Yeah.
my friend August, I mean, you ever want to talk about like the Oscars one time for your podcast? Have my friend August. He knows.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll definitely want to do an Oscar podcast and
Oh, he's
coming
like, I
up
was
here.
like, August, who was the runner-up in 1942? Well, this for this, and I'm like, you are
I'm
crazy.
not that good, but
Oh, he's
I'm
so good.
pretty good with years and dates. Like if you tell me like what won Best Picture in this year, I'm pretty good at that. I can't tell you like every nominee, like maybe your friend can.
Yeah, no, he loves to. He always brings up how Katharine Hepburn, who her and Barbra Streisand tied one year,
Yep, 1968.
and Catherine wasn't there, and he imitated Barbara, and he was like, Barbara was like, "That's fine, I'll go on stage." I
Yeah.
love that. I'm like, she probably, she wasn't mad at that.
Yeah. So Meryl Streep holds the record amount of nominations. She has
20,
21,
yeah, I was gonna say 23.
21 nominations, but she's only won three. So that makes her an 18-time loser, which is kind of insane, right? To think that she had to go to the ceremony 18 times to lose.
Right. Well, you
But
know what? Glenn Close 7, Amy Adams 6. There, I feel.
yeah.
Oh, have you seen Hillbilly Elegy?
Yeah, I have heard, I've heard people really, really hate it. I didn't think it was a great
Wow,
film,
I
but I
love it.
really enjoyed it, and I thought Glenn Close's performance especially was a standout. Like she's going big, like she's doing something really big and crazy, nothing unlike herself.
Right.
But I thought she did a great job with that performance. I think she's a shoo-in for at least a
Oh yeah,
nomination.
both of them.
The movie wasn't received very well by critics, so I'm
Which
concerned
I
that
don't
that might bring it down.
understand. I heard about, so the night it came out, my brother-in-law's cousin, his girlfriend said that it was, I don't know, his cousin was like, it's about nothing. The movie's about nothing. I hate it. And I was like, how is it about nothing? Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? And then his girlfriend was like, no, babe, it's good. Watch it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with your opinion. And then I watched it and I was like, what do you mean? This movie is about addiction. It's
Mhm.
about, it's about love and addiction and growing up in a small town
Mhm.
and trying to like become a,
Yeah,
not have your kid be what you are.
yeah.
And I heard about Glenn Close and how amazing she was, and she was incredible. But who I really loved was Amy Adams. I was
Mm.
like,
Oh, she's always great. Yeah.
oh my God. I feel like both of them for sure are gonna get nominated for that
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see if that happens. But yeah, Glenn Close is overdue. I loved
Yeah.
Olivia Colman in The Favorite, which was one of my favorite films of 2018.
Hmm.
But I felt like it was time. It was Glenn Close's time to win. And
I did
she's so
too.
good in The Wife, which is not a film everybody saw, but she's great. Especially the end.
I
It's like
watched that on a
really
plane
powerful.
because everybody told me that movie was so boring, blah blah blah. Which to me, I don't really get bored with slow movies. I
Hmm.
actually think it's more interesting.
Hmm.
Um, and Glenn Close did stuff in that movie. I remember being in the plane like crying. I was like, she's not even saying anything, and I know what she's thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I thought that was amazing. And people said that she didn't deserve the award for that, but I really think she did. I think it's harder to be quiet and
Hmm.
move people than it is to be like extra and move people.
Yeah.
I really do think she should have won for Fatal Attraction, though.
Oh yeah. That was the year of Cher won for Moonstruck, which is a fun film, and she was good
Oh
in it.
God, I didn't say that. Don't come for me, anyone.
The
I
Cher fans.
You know what? In my defense, I've never seen Moonstruck, so I guess I'd have to see that.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Because I recently saw Fatal Attraction, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, she definitely deserves it. What do we think? Do we think the Prom is going to get any Academy Award nominations, any Oscar nominations for the Prom? I feel like it's going to do very well at the Golden Globes, where they have the comedy musical category. I think it's going to do well there.
I think it's going to get nominated for maybe some Grammys.
Okay.
You know, if I had to choose who I think acting-wise would get nominated, I think it would be Meryl.
I think Meryl Streep will get a nomination at the Golden Globes for actress in a musical comedy. I don't think she's gonna get nominated at the Oscars for this. I think it's a little bit too, like, I don't know, Glee.
Right. But in a regular year, for sure. But this year would be the year that something like this would be nominated, just because I feel like there's so much less things to be nominated, and you know, a lot of things were pushed back and didn't come out in time, and that's going to help the people who did come out in time. You know what I mean? And yeah, but I don't know. I think it's going to be more. You're right, like a Golden Globe thing and like a Grammy thing.
I'll be curious to know how they even do those shows in the spring. Like the Emmys just did away with an audience, and they had everyone at their homes, and they were like bringing the statues like to their houses and to their apartments and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the Oscars and Golden Globes are going to be how they're going to look this year. I feel like it's going to be something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to be what they did for the Emmys. You know, like we can't have a live audience, but people are going to be live streaming. Like the nominees are all going to have the camera. I mean, you know, they all have their ring lights. They can all do it. Oh, I forgot to bring my ring light. I'm so dumb. But yeah, I think when it comes to Oscars, maybe not for the Prom.
Yeah. But overall, I really liked it. I give it a solid like 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It could have been like, there were a couple parts where I could feel like the length of the movie. Like I was like, okay, let's speed this along a little bit. But for the most part, especially, you know, there's been some really rough Netflix movies that I won't mention in the last couple months that just feel really, really long. I felt like this one pulled it off pretty well. It starts off with a bang. The final number's great, you know, and a tremendous ensemble cast, really fun. So yeah, I am not in that camp of like, this movie's terrible, don't watch it. I think I feel like if just watch the trailer, if you feel like this is not the movie for you, maybe find something else. But like if you like musicals, I think you're gonna have some fun with this one.
It is fun, and that's the thing about it. It's like, you know, if you like music, if you don't like musicals, then yeah, you're probably not gonna
run the other way, because there's a lot of song and dance numbers.
That's what it is. But I think it's a fun movie, and I think I would, especially the way I watched it drinking. It was a lot of fun. It was entertaining, and if you love those actors, if you love Nicole and Meryl like I do, I was like, watching. I honestly, my eyes, whenever like the scene where the four of them were walking down the street dancing.
Oh yeah, when they're doing that, like
I was literally staring at Nicole the whole time. I was just looking at Nicole, and then I looked at my friend. I was like, "Are you just watching Nicole the whole time?" He was like, "Yes."
Yeah. Again, she's great in the film with what she gets. I just wish there could have been a little bit more of her character. It felt kind of underwritten. Like even her payoff at the end, where she finds out like she is now going to play the lead role in Chicago. Like it's kind of a throwaway moment. It was like, I got the pot. You know, I was like, I felt like we could have had a little bit more of her character to make that really earn the ending. But for the most part, you know, not a whole lot of flaws in this film.
You know what I really liked too? I just remembered was the little Mean Girls like the three Mean Girls.
Yeah, they're great too.
That. They were great, and
how they kind of come around and appreciate their friend, and like that I thought that worked pretty well.
It was a little homage to Mean Girls, I thought. And the blonde girl was Regina George, and then the girl who Emma, who used to be friends with Regina, was actually the Janice Ian. And it was really interesting, and I thought that was a really good little addition to the movie. It
Yeah.
was great.
All right, so to end here, Evan, let's talk about Meryl Streep's career. As you said
Yes.
before we started recording,
Mhm.
you know, she's been in like more than 60 films. You haven't seen all 60 of them? How dare you?
I have not, I haven't seen a lot of them. I really need to get on my Meryl Streep like night. Like I need to go through a bunch of her movies. I also need to do that with Angelina. I've been meaning to. But anyway,
Let me
yeah,
tell you, in 2014 I watched all of her films
right.
over the course of a year. It
Yeah.
is a fascinating project because she never plays the same character twice. And there is a period of films that she did in the 80s where she has a different accent in every film. She has a different hairstyle in every film, and you can't recognize her. You're like, how is this the same person? And just these last few days, she had two movies drop. The other one, Let Them All Talk, and
Mhm.
completely different characters she plays in that than she plays in the Prom. So to
Iron
this,
Lady, which I haven't seen, but
the
I
Iron
keep
Lady,
away
she's
from it.
amazing in that
It
film.
changes her
Actually,
voice.
one of my least favorite Meryl Streep movies is the Iron Lady. I don't really like it very
Wow.
much as a film, but
One of the ones you won for.
her performance in it is outstanding for
Mm,
sure. Definitely worthy of the Oscar for sure. So, what are
yeah.
your favorites? You said one of them is The Devil Wears Prada, which how can it
Uh,
not be, right?
yeah, I just love that. I think she's, we all know who she's playing in that movie, and I
Yeah.
think, and I think I don't know if she's met that woman before or what, but like, if that's just from her own memory, but yeah, I thought she was, and everybody in that movie too, like Emily Blunt,
Mhm.
was amazing, and
Yeah, that
Hathaway,
was her. That was Emily Blunt's breakthrough. Was The
it
Devil
really
Wears
was,
Prada? Yeah,
yeah.
she had done some stuff before, but that was the first thing I had seen her in, and after that, her career took off big time.
She's another great singer.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's one of my favorite Meryl movies, and also Death Becomes Her, which we talked a little bit about. I saw that maybe like 2 years ago because my friend has this wall on his. He has a whole wall covered in. It's like he's very OCD, so he has it's like posters, but in like black frames, perfectly spaced out. Like he took a ruler and spaced them out perfectly. There's probably like 25 posters
Hmm.
on one wall, and every movie is like iconic. Like there's Casper, there's Titanic, there's Death Becomes Her, there's Tu Wong Fu, there's all his
Oh, I
favorite
love Tu
movies.
Wong Fu.
Oh, I need to take a picture of that wall and send it to you. I feel like you would love all those movies.
Is this
And
the same friend who's into the Oscars, or is this
yes,
somebody? Okay,
yes,
what's his
same
name?
friend. August.
August. Okay. Oh,
Batman
wait,
Returns.
Emerson?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know August Emerson. We cast him in like two films when I
Oh,
worked with
really?
Valerie. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god,
know of August. Okay. Yeah,
that's
I
amazing.
haven't talked to him in many years. I got to reach out to him and say hi. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing good. But yeah, so Death Becomes Her was on that wall, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that. And he was like, what? So
Sit
that's
down. We are
we're
watching it.
watching it right now, and he was
Yeah.
right. Goldie Hawn too. Oh my
Hmm.
god,
Yep.
that's another national treasure.
Goldie
Uh,
Hawn is also she'd be in my top 5 favorite actresses is Goldie Hawn.
ooh,
I love she kind of retired from acting after '02. She's in a new film, The Christmas Chronicles 2 with her, husband or her partner,
yeah,
Kurt Russell.
right.
But she kind of retired after '02, and not all of her films are great, but there's something about her
Something
presence on
about it's her
film,
charm.
her charm. She's so charming, going all the way back to the '70s,
Mhm.
her film work, and definitely my favorite Goldie Hawn movie is Death Becomes Her, and it's easily in my top 3 Meryl Streep movies. It's so funny, it's so
So fun.
inventive. It's kind of like this anomaly in all of their careers, including Bruce Willis. Didn't really do
Right.
another film like that. Sandwiched in between the director Robert Zemeckis, the sequels to Back to the Future, and then Forrest Gump, which he won the Academy Award, is
Mhm.
this like dirty little special
Whoa,
effects black comedy.
I didn't even put that together. So that's the same director.
Yeah, the director of Back to the Future and Forrest Gump and Castaway. He made Death Becomes Her. It's such like a weird film on his resume.
What a
You know, it
cool. That's amazing.
yeah, and it's just
What a
like it's
range.
like who took a chance on this kind of weird project storyline like, and to
Yeah,
get those 3 people for it, Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, and Meryl Streep, such like
right.
a master stroke. I just love them in this movie. It's so funny.
So good. And who I feel like is like the modern day Goldie Hawn is Cameron Diaz. Like her charm
Yeah.
to me, she's so underrated. I'm like, I need more of her. I need her to do
Yeah.
more.
Who's also retired. Cameron Diaz
Right.
retired, yeah, in 2014.
No, why?
Hopefully she got sometimes they come back. Like let's give her let you know. I think Cameron Diaz is another film in her. We'll see if she comes back.
Yeah, I watched Charlie's Angels, the one with Drew, Cameron, and Lucy, and just Cameron is just she's so good, she's so charming. I love her. I can't get enough of her.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another Meryl movie. I mean, there's too many to pick from, but what's like you said, Death becomes her as your top three. What's the other two?
Yeah, so the other two, so the other one would be, she's not in the whole movie, but it's
Okay.
such a strong film. It's one of my favorite films of the 70s, and that's Kramer versus Kramer from 1979.
Yeah.
It opens with her leaving her child, basically, like she needs to get away from her child, and so she leaves her husband, played by Dustin Hoffman, who has, you know, a job and is busy, and all of a sudden he has this young boy at home to take care of. And in the second half of the movie, like a year has passed, Dustin Hoffman's become this really great father, and then Meryl Streep comes back. She says, "I've had a change of heart. I want to take my son back. I want my son." And at this point, he's like, "You can't have him." Right. And so there's a great tension in the second half.
I'm sure.
It came out right at the end of 79. It was Meryl Streep's first Oscar. She won for Best Supporting Actress.
For Kramer versus Kramer?
Kramer versus Kramer.
Ah.
So she had been in The Deer Hunter before. She'd had a couple big credits before, but this was the film that really propelled her career forward, was Kramer versus Kramer, which came out at the end of 79. And then right soon after that, a couple years after that, she does Sophie's Choice, which won her the Oscar for Best Actress. And not one of my 5 or 10 favorite Meryl Streep movies, easily one of her 2 or 3 best performances, and that's Sophie's Choice from 82.
It's kind of like Iron Lady to you, not
yeah, the only one that she won an Oscar for that I love as a movie is Kramer versus Kramer.
Got it. And she has 2 leads and 1 supporting, right?
Yeah, so she's won twice in lead and 1 in supporting. Yeah,
and then
most of her nominations are in lead. Most of the noms.
I was telling my friend, I was like, or August, I was like, oh, okay, so she's only 1 behind Catherine, because Catherine has the most for 4, right?
Yeah, Katharine Hepburn has won 4.
And August goes, but 4 for leading.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Even if Meryl Streep wins a 4th Oscar,
it would have to be lead.
She won her first one for supporting, so she would need to win a 5th.
Right, she would need to win 2 more leads.
I really do think Meryl Streep has at least 1 more win in her. It's now been 9 years since Iron Lady. I feel like, you know, she's in her 70s now. I feel like there's at least one more truly spectacular dramatic role coming up. I think there's going to be at least 1 more that they reward her.
I think for sure 1 and maybe even 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
70, especially with today's technology, and like I'm sure she's sleeping in an incubator like she should.
Yeah. Right.
So
I mean,
it's gonna last a long time. Like
I hope she's got a long haul ahead. I mean, I really hope it's not just a few more years. I mean, she is so prolific, Evan. She's acted in a film a year almost nonstop since 1977. But since 1977, I want to say there have been 3 years where she wasn't in a film. In 43 years. I mean, every year she's in 1, typically 2 films, which is crazy. You know, at 70 she might be like, oh, you know, I'll do 1 every couple years, or, you know, a lot of actors kind of slow down. She has never slowed down.
I love that.
Yeah,
as she shouldn't, you know, like if she keeps doing these amazing things, like why not just keep going? Somebody who I really go ahead. I was gonna say somebody who I really want to come back. Like I'm like, okay, it's time to come back and do more amazing movies, is Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, where did she go? She was like really prolific there for about 5-6 years, and then I want to say
got married. I know that.
In the last 2 years, I haven't seen her in anything.
She just turned 30. She still looks 20. You know, like I think I really want to see her come back. And
I think she's wrapped something. I think there's something coming. Oh, and you know what she's making right now? I found out watching an interview with Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep and Jennifer Lawrence are in a big ensemble film with Leonardo DiCaprio. Director Adam McKay, who did The Big Short, and what was that recent one about the vice president? Vice.
That was great.
Dick Cheney. Yeah, so he's making a new film, kind of, I think, in that same realm, kind of like comedic drama, kind of a little bit of both. and it's this huge ensemble cast. It's shooting right now. It's coming out next fall, and it's Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio, and many others.
I'm sold.
I mean that, yeah. I don't think we're gonna miss that one.
Speaking of top 5 actor males, Leo is definitely one of my top 5.
Oh yeah, he's like I mean, he's on a very short list of just actors that guarantee I will watch it. I will not miss it. DiCaprio.
Talk about how I know this is off topic, but he was the only actor not nominated for Titanic.
Well, I mean, there were other actors not nominated. The only two that
like lead, like
the lead, yeah.
Like Kate was nominated, Billy Zane was nominated.
No. So for the Oscars, the 2 actors nominated for Titanic were Kate Winslet for leading actress and Gloria Stewart for supporting actress. None of the men in that film got nominated, which I think is a crime. I think it's a crime that DiCaprio didn't get nominated for Titanic.
He should have won.
I mean, he made that movie work, I think, more than anybody else.
I mean,
he's great in that.
One of his best performances. He should have won for Gilbert Grape.
Yeah. But anyway. I don't think he's crying himself to sleep at night about his lack of a nomination for Titanic. I mean, he did finally win for The Revenant, so he has won. Yeah,
which that was just like, that was more like a legacy award. That was not for The Revenant. That was for you deserve this. Here's your Oscar.
Yeah. Some other Meryl Streep films that I think are great: Silkwood, where she plays a real life figure. That film, she acts alongside Cher and Kurt Russell. I really love Marvin's Room with Diane Keaton and Robert De Niro, a film from the mid-90s that not a lot of people know about. It's based on a play. I taught it. Yeah, I taught it for a film class a couple years ago, and nobody had seen it, and they all really enjoyed it. And it's like a quieter film, but it's really strong. Adaptation is one of my favorite films of hers, by Spike Jonze, the one with Nicolas Cage as playing 2 different screenwriters. That came out in 2002. She got nominated for that. What else do I like of hers? I want to say in the last few years, probably her best film of the last 5 years, probably The Post by Steven Spielberg, the one with Tom Hanks, was really strong. That was a really good film. But I mean, she's had some stinkers here and there, but most of her films are pretty strong.
What did you think of Ricky Vicky in the Flash, or Vicky in the Flash?
Oh yeah, that was that one wasn't so great.
I didn't see it, but I saw the billboard and I was like,
she did it. That problem with that film was more of just like the story, just it felt kind of flat on the screen. Her performance in it's really strong, but it's not one of her more memorable films for sure. Yeah, that wasn't one of her better films, but like Into the Woods, she's really great in that.
Yes. Also, she's really great in Little Women.
Yeah, Little Women. She's only in 5 to 10 minutes of that movie, but she makes the most of her scenes.
Yep.
That was one of my favorite films of 2019. I thought she was great in that. Great ensemble in that film.
I loved her and Timothy in that. I thought they were both amazing.
Yeah. So a lot of strong films going all the way back to the 70s. My favorite Meryl Streep movie, you probably haven't heard of it. It's from 1991. It's a comedy written and directed by Albert Brooks, and it's called Defending Your Life. She plays the female lead. It's about a guy who is killed in a bus accident. He gets hit by a bus in the first 10 minutes, and then we go to the afterlife, which is Albert Brooks' like imagination of like what happens after we die. And in his imagination, we go to this place where over the course of 4 days, we get in a courtroom and there's like a prosecutor, and we look at our life, clips of our life on the screen, and we have to prove that we deserve to go on to the next stage, whatever that may be. And if the prosecutor is able to prove that you were too afraid, you didn't take enough chances, you have to go back and do it again as somebody else. And it's a comedy. It's like really funny. Meryl Streep is the female lead, and she's great in it. It's probably like of a 43-year career. It's probably the role that's like closest to just her. She's kind of playing a version of herself. She's just super charming in it. And it's just a strong script and really funny, and it's definitely worth a look if you've never seen it. You will have a great time. It's called Defending Your Life.
I need to write that down.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of great Meryl Streep projects, and it's not even in the top 15 of her best performances. But as a movie, I saw it in high school. I responded to it right away, and it's a movie I like to revisit here and there. It's really fun.
Gotta check it out. Who else is in it?
Who else is in it?
Yeah.
It's Rip Torn is in it, one of my favorite character actors, and Lee Grant is the prosecutor. Buck Henry is in it. And then the lead, like the main character, is played by Albert Brooks, who I don't. Do you know who that is? He's been in a bunch of films. He wrote and directed like 7 or 8 films. Lost in America is another famous one. He did the movie Mother, where Debbie Reynolds played his mom in the 90s. That's a really funny movie.
Oh, I was thinking of Mother with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh no, not that one.
Oh my God, that
No,
one.
no, no. This is a comedy from the 90s called Mother. He did a film called The Muse with Sharon Stone, which is really funny. And then he did a great job. If you haven't seen the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling from
Love that.
2011,
Oh, he did that one.
yeah, he got a lot of buzz for Oscar consideration, but he didn't get a nomination. He played, he played like the villain of the movie, the one who, like, in the later part of the movie, that guy who's just like killing that guy in his like workshop or whatever, and just like destroying one of his sidekick henchmen or whatever. He plays a really intimidating kind of thug in Drive, a character unlike any other film he's done. Usually he's playing like a comedic actor. The other famous film he's in is called Broadcast News with Holly Hunter from 1987.
Okay.
Yeah. So check out his work. He's really good. Albert
Yeah.
Brooks. And this is my favorite film of his. And Meryl Streep is the female lead.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Evan, this has been such a blast getting to talk with you today about your career and about the prom and Meryl Streep. This has been so much fun. I wanted to end with just, where can our listeners find you online? How can they reach out to you? If you have any way for them to reach you online.
Oh, well, I mean, I have an Instagram,
Okay.
You can sometimes I'll like check my DMs and I'll see it. It's just my name, Evan Bittencourt.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much the only form of social media I use. I have a TikTok, but I don't post anything. I'm a voyeur. I just watch stuff.
Okay, cool.
But not even all the time. Actually, I'm not big, not really big into that. Twitter. Oh, I have Twitter too. Again, Evan Bittencourt.
Okay.
That I like to use for like. I can't believe I didn't look up Twitter for the prom. Like, I should have done that.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go deep into that because
Yeah.
of what you said. I want to see what people are saying. But yeah, those 2 places. And thank you for doing this, because I really enjoyed watching the prom, and I don't think I would have watched it if you hadn't brought it up, I wouldn't have made an event.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for doing that for me. I'd love to have you on the regular podcast at some point if you want to look at like a film from like the 70s. We look at older films.
That would be fun.
Yeah, so a lot of obscure titles that a lot of people maybe aren't watching nowadays. Kind of going back in time and seeing.
I love that.
What was popular back then, and what were people looking at 50 years ago? It's kind of the
something. It's just what I was doing. You would like this during quarantine. Actually, August too, and my other friend, we were watching the Best Picture winners, all but the best.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I watched Midnight Cowboy, which is from the 70s, right?
69, yeah, and 69. One Best Picture in early 1970. Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah, amazing. And I'm like, wow, I'd never even heard of that movie until quarantine.
Oh yeah, really great. Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman. That's a fun kind of project. If you want to go back and look at some older films, a really great project is just let's watch the Best Picture winners and see,
because that was the best of the year,
Yeah, exactly, and that's a good place to start.
Like look up the people who were nominated for lead in each category and watch those movies. I'm sure all those movies are amazing too.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like spend like thousands of hours in front of the TV.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Evan. And thank you all for listening. This is Brian Rowe. Thank you so much for listening to Film at 50. We will catch you next time. Thanks again, Evan. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.